Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Kiki.
And I am Mike, and I am no longer terrified of the blood moon. I feel very peaceful, I feel very calm, and I feel very full of knowledge because yesterday our article told us exactly what is happening when the moon turns to blood. First of all, the moon is not turning to blood.
No.
The moon is just changing colors. Based on the light that we see.
Right.
I wonder if you were actually on the moon, if you would look down and, oh my gosh, the ground is suddenly red. I don't know.
Well, that's
that
an
would be
interesting
kind of cool.
thought.
Maybe next time they go to the moon, they should try to plan it for when there's a blood moon happening. But still, we know it's just shadows. It's the sun, the Earth's in the way, the shadow gets cast on the moon. A little bit of light goes around the Earth, and that light is mostly red because the Earth's atmosphere, the gases around the Earth kind of block out the other light. But we only know, I wonder how long we've been able to explain this. Probably less than a couple hundred years, right? Because, I mean, people didn't have telescopes. They didn't know a lot about space until fairly recently. And that's what we're going to get into today.
So before science, how did people explain this rare and unique phenomenon?
I don't know if they explained it. They probably just ran around going, oh my God, we're all going to die!
Well,
Something
even if they were scared, they still needed a reason to be scared.
Yeah, that's true. You would just go crazy if you were
Right.
terrified
They might
for
say,
no reason.
I mean, they would just be doing their normal daily things and
Imagine.
then having dinner, and
Yeah.
then they decided to go out for a walk.
Sure.
And then,
Yes. A
The
moon
moon.
that has been in the, it's been the same color your whole life.
Yeah.
Suddenly it is now red.
Right.
And it's really, really dark.
So I can't imagine what kind of stories, they could tell each other.
I
to
can't imagine
try-
how terrified they must have been when they were thinking of these stories.
Yeah.
Well, let's read the article and find out.
Many ancient peoples believed blood moons represented bad things that were about to happen. For example, the Inca believed the moon turned red because a jaguar was attacking their moon goddess. They feared it would come to the earth next, so people would make loud noises to scare the jaguar away. Similarly, in ancient Mesopotamia, a blood moon was seen as a direct threat to the king. Therefore, a fake king was put on the throne to take on the bad luck, while the real one hid away in safety.
Today we are talking about part 2 of our article, When the Moon Turns Red, the myths and meanings of blood moons.
Yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job so far with that title, right? When the moon turns red. Well, now we know the moon just looks red. It doesn't turn anything. It's the same. It just looks. And today we're going to do that second part, the myths and the meanings of blood moons. So let's get into it. It says many ancient peoples believed blood moons represented bad things that were about to happen.
That's right. So here we have the verb represent. And it basically means to take something. It could be a person or it could be an item, even a color, to associate that, to put that with a meaning for something. So for example, I can have Mike represent us to invite the whole office to our party.
Oh, we're having a party?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
It will be a blood moon party.
I see, but you were busy, so you can invite everyone.
Exactly.
So I will do that, but I will be doing it for you and all the other people having the party.
For us.
Okay.
You're
all right.
representing
I can
us,
represent us.
right?
in that
So
way.
when people see Mike, they will think, oh, this is for Mike and Kiki.
Ah,
Okay?
gotcha.
So you're
Okay.
taking something to symbolize something else. So for example, in many cultures, the color white represents peace.
Oh, yeah, okay. Or what did the blood moon represent to them?
Okay, let's find out.
Yes.
For example,
Okay.
The Inca believed the moon turned red because a jaguar was attacking their moon goddess.
Wow. That's pretty terrifying.
It is.
If it's really happening, think of that.
So clearly the moon or the moon goddess is something that meant a lot to the Inca people.
Sure, they probably had a sun god and a moon goddess or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, when something like this happened to the moon, when it turned red, they thought of something bad, which was the jaguar attacking.
I guess if a jaguar attacks a person, they get all cut up and bitten and they bleed and it's very bad and they probably die. And so in their minds, that was happening to the moon. That's terrifying.
That's right. But not only was something bad happening to the moon, they feared it would come to the earth next. So people would make loud noises to scare the jaguar away.
I guess you can't run away from a giant space jaguar.
No.
If it can jump from the earth to the moon, it'll catch you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So they make loud noises. Well, I mean, you're still told to do that, right? If you see a big wild animal outside in a forest, make loud noises, maybe you'll scare it away. And so that's what they would do. I guess they'd be banging pots and pans together, blowing horns, making loud noises. I think they might have even brought their dogs out and the dogs would bark at the moon or something like that. But yeah, they're trying to scare this scary animal away, the scary animal that they think is attacking the moon goddess. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go over to Hanny. We'll listen to what she has to say and then we'll be back and we'll be on our way to Mesopotamia.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。第一天的课程解释了血月如何发生，今天要来看看跟血月相关的神话。许多古代民族相信血月代表着即将发生的坏事，像印加人认为月球变红是因为一只美洲豹正在攻击他们的月亮女神，人们担心美洲豹接下来会来到地球，因此会发出巨大声响来吓跑它。好，单字 represent。Represent 是动词，表示代表、意味着或是象征。那么 jaguar 这个名词就表示美洲豹。那我们接着回到课文中。
All right, so now we're going to go to another part of the world, but another ancient part of the world, Mesopotamia, which is what we would call the country of Iraq today, right? But it's still one of the oldest cultures in the world. So what would they think, again, back before science? What were their sort of myths and legends about a blood moon? Well, it says similarly, in ancient Mesopotamia, a blood moon was seen as a direct threat to the king. Ooh, so the moon goddess was the one the Incans were worried about. Mesopotamians were a little more worried about a powerful person here on earth, a real living person, their king, of course, the most important person in their culture. And if anyone is going to attack or try to kill the king, this would be seen as a very dangerous thing, a very big threat to the country, to the people. So a threat is, yes, a danger, something that could hurt you, something that could kill you, something that could bring really bad things into your life. For example, rising sea levels are a major threat to island nations. So if you're thinking of buying a house on the beach, maybe think twice because rising water can be a threat now and definitely in the future.
Okay, so we know the blood moon to the Mesopotamians was a threat to their king.
Yes, the king is going to die. The blood moon, it's blood. It means the king's death is coming.
So what do? They
run
have
away.
to...
Oh, no.
No, they can't run away.
Okay.
Because they have to protect the king, right?
Sure.
So how did they do that?
I don't know.
Therefore, a fake king was put on the throne to take on the bad look, while the real one hid away in safety. Here we have the adjective fake. Basically what fake is to describe something that isn't real. And most of the time, it's something that people make to look like something else. So here we have an example sentence. That bag is fake. It's not made by the real brand.
I see. Okay. Well, let's go over to Hanny. She's no fake. She's the real deal.
在古美索不达米亚，血月被视为对国王直接的威胁，因此呢，会立一位假国王来承受厄运，而真正的国王则躲到了安全的地方。我们来看单字 threat。threat 是名词，表示威胁、恐吓。 fake 则是形容假的、伪造的。这边还有一个重点是 see 加受词加上 as 再加名词或形容词，可以表达把什么视为怎么样。see 在这边表示认为、视为，那也可以用 regard、view 或者是 think of 来替换。我们这边造2个例句。Gina thinks of herself as talented. Gina 认为自己很有才华。第2个例句是 Nick is seen as the best player on his team. Nick 被认为是队上最厉害的球员。好，那么这个句子呢，我们用到被动语态表达哦。那接滑课文中。
All right, so that's the first part of the article. We already know the Incans were trying to frighten away the space jaguar. The Mesopotamians were hiding their king and putting a fake one on the throne to try to trick the moon. What about in other parts of the world? We'll find out right now.
On the other hand, in the traditions of Togo and Benin, the arrival of a blood moon is seen as a conflict between the sun and the moon. To encourage these heavenly bodies to make up, people use this time to make peace and settle arguments. People around the world have different ideas about blood moons, but we can all enjoy this amazing sight together. The Earth is the only planet where blood moons can be seen, and they appear, on average, for about 1 hour every 2.5 years.
All right, so at our look in some of the traditions and beliefs, or the old traditions and beliefs behind the blood moon, we have gone from South America with the Incans, we've gone over to the Middle East with Mesopotamia. Now we're going to visit Africa to see what people in parts of Africa thought. So what about in Africa? It says, on the other hand, in the traditions of Togo and Benin, very interesting, now we're over in West Africa, the arrival of a blood moon is seen as a conflict between the sun and the moon. So, all right, a conflict is a fight. You might see this word in the newspaper when they talk about a conflict between two countries where they're like shooting at each other or things like that, like a war or battles. For example, the two sides are trying to avoid open conflict. They're trying to avoid arguing in public.
Okay, but what did the sun and the moon's little argument have to do with us
That's true.
little humans?
How do you help them make peace? They're the sun and the moon.
Well, let's see. To encourage these heavenly bodies to make up
Peace.
The heavenly bodies, they're referring to the sun and the moon.
The moon, right?
People use this time to make peace and settle arguments.
I like that.
Okay, so they thought that the sun and the moon were fighting.
Right. I'm the moon, I'm sun, I'm so bright. I'm the moon, I'm so cool.
So that means this is a good time for people or humans to make peace with each other.
Okay.
And because of that, the sun and the moon will see us as examples.
We're being a good role model.
Right.
I like it.
Well, I like this story. It's not scary and it's quite peaceful.
And of course, once the eclipse goes away, everyone in the town or the village, they're all getting along better.
Well, you know who I know like helps people get along all the time?
Who's that?
Our good friend Hanny.
Oh yeah, she does.
课文前面提到了印加人与古美索不达米亚人对血月的看法。那另一方面，在西非国家多哥和贝南的传统当中，血月的到来被视为是太阳跟月亮之间的冲突。那为了使这2个天体和解，人们就会利用这个时间来讲和化解纷争。好，单字 conflict 是名词，表示冲突、分歧。这个字也可以当动词，不过要念作 conflict， 它是表达冲突、矛盾或者是相抵触。这边还有2个重点，第一个 on the other hand 表示另一方面，那这个片语常跟 on the one hand 一方面来合用，用来呈现对立或是互补的2种观点。那么 on the other hand 也可以单独使用，可以把它摆在句首或句中。例如On the one hand, I want to buy a new phone, but on the other hand, I'm trying to save money. 一方面我想买一只新的手机，但另一方面我正在设法存钱，不知道该怎么办。好，那么第二个重点是 make up 的不同意思。第一个可以表达在争执后和解、重修旧好，这时候是不及物用。例如 They finally made up and got back together. 他们总算重修旧好，复合了。第二个 make up 可以表达编造、虚构，像是编造故事啊、谎言、借口等等，这时候是当及物用。例如 The story wasn't real, he made it up. 那个故事不是真的，是他编造的。第三个 make up 可以表达组成、构成，是当及物用，我们就常常用 A make up B 或者是 B is made up of A 来表达 A 组成、构成了 B。好，例如 The album is made up of 12 songs. 这张专辑是由12首歌曲组成的。那这句话课文中。
All right, we are back. So there you go. A bunch of different ways that people used to try to understand and explain and also, feel okay about a scary thing happening in the sky, a blood moon. They would explain it with stories. They would use different beliefs to try to avoid trouble. And they would also make peace, which is kind of a nice way to handle it. It says people around the world have different ideas about blood moons, but we can all enjoy this amazing sight together, especially now that we know what is actually going on in space.
The Earth is the only planet where blood moons can be seen.
Really?
Ooh. And they appear, on average, for about 1 hour every 2.5 years.
Okay, so pretty special.
Yeah, so what is an average? Here, average is a noun, and what it is basically a number that represents something in the middle. So, for example, you can have two different numbers, and when you add it up, and you divide it again, you'll find that middle ground.
There we go. Do you have an example sentence for that one?
Yes, we do. Andy's test scores were higher on average this year.
Okay, so he generally did better. He might have gotten one lower grade, but he got more higher grades, so the average moved up a little bit. Well, a lady who definitely isn't average is our good friend Hanny. She's super special. Let's go talk to her now.
无论世界各地的人们对血月有什么样看法，至少呢，我们都可以欣赏到这个令人惊叹的景象。地球是唯一能够看到血月的行星。血月平均每2年半出现一次，每次大约持续1小时。那我们最后来看看单字 average。average 当名词表示平均水平、平均数。那 on average 就可以表达平均来说。另外 average 还可以当形容词来形容普通的、一般的或是平均的。那我们接着回到课文中。
All right, we are back. And before we go and get terrified by what's happening in the sky, we're going to ask you guys a question. Why do you think people in the past created stories to explain blood moons?
Okay, well, I think they told stories to make each other feel, to comfort each other.
Okay.
Because they might be scared to see the blood moon for the first time and they don't know why, especially since it doesn't happen that often.
Yes.
Right? So they need some sort of explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also say it's possible that they were really, really terrified when something that happened all the time, like the moon being kind of a shiny white color, wasn't a shiny white color all of a sudden. So they used stories to explain it and to control their fears. Because it could be, it's kind of terrifying. If you woke up to go to work and suddenly the sun was not there, that's a pretty weird thing to happen. All right, but now, of course, we know exactly what's going on, and you do as well. Don't we feel good, feeling being smarter than we were a short time ago? Let's review the article again to make us a tiny bit smarter on average, and then we'll see you guys back here next time. Until then, be afraid of the moon. Bye-bye.
Many ancient peoples believed blood moons represented bad things that were about to happen. For example, the Inca believed the moon turned red because a jaguar was attacking their moon goddess. They feared it would come to the earth next, so people would make loud noises to scare the jaguar away. Similarly, in ancient Mesopotamia, a blood moon was seen as a direct threat to the king. Therefore, a fake king was put on the throne to take on the bad luck, while the real one hid away in safety. On the other hand, in the traditions of Togo and Benin, the arrival of a blood moon is seen as a conflict between the sun and the moon. To encourage these heavenly bodies to make up, people use this time to make peace and settle arguments. People around the world have different ideas about blood moons, but we can all enjoy this amazing sight together. The Earth is the only planet where blood moons can be seen, and they appear, on average, for about 1 hour every 2.5 years.
最后，我们来复习今天课文里的单字文法。单字的部分有 represent 动词，表示代表、意味着或象征； threat 名词，表示威胁、恐吓； fake 形容词，形容假的、伪造的； conflict 是名词，表示冲突、分歧； average 当名词，它表示平均水平或者是平均数。那文法的部分，我们第一个学到 see 加受词加 as 再加名词或形容词，可以表达把什么视为点点点。see 在这边表示认为、视为，可以用 regard、view 或者是 think of 来代换。第二个，我们学到 on the other hand 表示另一方面，这个片语常常会跟 on the one hand 一方面来合用，用来呈现对立或互补的两种观点。不过它也可以单独使用。好，那第三个我们学到 make up 的不同意思。首先可以指在争执后和解重修就好。第二个可以表达编造、虚构，像编造故事、谎言、借口等等。那第三个可以表达组成、构成的意思。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Oh, that's a good yoga session. Oh no, I better hurry. Winnie's gonna be here soon.
Hey, you ready to go?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, it's not going. I hate it when the yoga mat always comes apart.
Kiki, stop. You're making this look so difficult. It could be very easy to put away a yoga mat.
What do you mean?
All you need is some Velcro.
Winnie, where am I gonna get Velcro?
Right over here.
Why do you have Velcro on you?
Shh, don't ask any questions. Anyway, all you need to do is put the hook side on one side and then the loop side on the other. Give it here. Step 1, put the hook side over here.
Okay.
One more in the middle. And the last one on this corner. Then you put the loop side to where you want it to be.
Okay.
So you put it right where it'll meet. Fasten that. Put it right in the middle where you put the hook side. And one last one to fully secure it. And there you go. You have a fully fastened yoga mat that won't unroll when you put it in the bag.
It's actually being fastened. It won't unroll.
Yeah,
And it's a lot easier to slide in the bag now.
there you go. Fully fastened yoga mat.
That's actually a pretty good idea. I never thought Velcro could be so versatile.
Told you. Now I'm ready to go get a smoothie.
Okay, let's go.
And now next time you know, if you need to fasten something, just use some Velcro. That's all we have for today. Remember to follow us on Instagram and send us a DM or email if there's something you want to say in English but you just don't know how. Kiki, anything left to say?
What do you need to hook and loop?
Kiwi later.